Today's news will help you to address certain questions not only in your second paper but also in your first paper and of course in your fourth paper, right? I guess you have read your daily news and you have come across this particular judgment which was passed by a trial court in Tamil Nadu, right? Let's dive into today's discussion. What is the development? The development is this: a trial court in Tamil Nadu has awarded death penalty to 9 policemen, right? With regards to what? With regards to they were found guilty with regards to custodial torture and murder of trader P. Jairaj and his son, 31 years old son, J. Benix, right? And this was during the COVID lockdown in Sattankulam in Thoothukudi district in Tamil Nadu, right? This is particularly the development. So in today's class, what we will see is that we'll particularly understand the background of the case, the judicial process, the outrage, right, to the verdict, the previous cases where death penalty was awarded to a policeman, right, and the ethical legal dimensions and way forward to prevent the next Sattankulam. Now you have to understand the incident case was so horrific that Sattankulam became a shorthand metaphor of custodial police brutality. A shorthand metaphor of custodial police brutality. You can use this phrase in not only in your second paper but also in your paper 4, right? In ethics paper also you can use, right? If there is a case study, you can use this Sattankulam as a case study. It's a metaphor, right? For what? Police brutality, right? Police brutality. Okay, let's start with the first thing, the background of the case. As I've said, the case was primarily, it happened during the lockdown. And what was the allegation? Allegation was the police alleged that the father and the son, they broke down the lockdown norms, which was later found baseless by the investigators, right? And who were the investigators? The investigators were not the state police, but your CBI, right? The CBI were the investigators, and both were subject. And what happened was that this was horrific. Both were subjected to mindless torture, right, inside the police station, leading to their death. Now, what was the judicial process? Now, this is very interesting. The Madras High Court took a suo motu cognizance. Suo motu cognizance in the sense that they took the particular case in their own fold, right? It was getting delayed. They took the case into their own fold. And in March 2026, 9 policemen were convicted of double murder, of the father and son. And in April 2026, that is the reason the news, Session Court in Madurai awarded death penalty to all 9 accused. All of them were given death penalty. And we'll dive into what is the reason and why such particular case is dominating the news cycle presently, right? And it becomes, again, if it dominates the news cycle, it becomes important for your GS paper, particularly in case of your mains. Now, what was the previous case that happened where this particular one policeman was also given death penalty? That was in RP Tyagi case. RP Tyagi case, in December 2006, the Delhi High Court awarded capital punishment for former Assistant Commissioner of Police ACP RP Tyagi, right? He was also given death penalty with regards to, again, custodial death that had happened. Now, the question here is that the legal and the ethical dimension, right? The legal and the ethical dimension. So first is rule of law versus state violence. Rule of law versus state violence, right? Custodial torture violates Article 21. We know that, right? It's categorically imprinted in Article 21 that even a person who is in custody, even if a person who is imprisoned, he has or she has the right to life as well as dignity, right? So categorically it violates Article 21. Then, as I said, principles of due process and dignity. It violates principle of due process and dignity. And most importantly, it raises this particular question. Can the state, now this is a very important question, and you can frame this particular question in your ethics answer also, or you can put this question in your ethics answer as well. Can the state punish crime by committing a greater crime? Can we do that? Can it punish a crime by committing? Are we not a Nazi state if this is happening? Right? It punishes a Nazi state. What happened? The punishment was not in coherence with the crimes that. So this particular thing raised, can the state punish crime by committing a greater crime? Greater crime is what? So greater crime is that they were killed in the custody. What was the crime which was later proved to be false? The crime was that they violated the lockdown norms, right? They violated the lockdown norms and then they were killed. Is it possible for a state to do that? Obviously, the answer is no to that. They were given death penalty, right? And it raised this question that is it justified, right? And the Supreme Court has given in one of its judgment that if there is a rarest of rare crime, of course, like it can be a person can be given death penalty or awarded death penalty, be it in your Nirbhaya case, be it in your Kasab case. Those crimes fell into your rarest of the rare crime, and that's the reason why. And this particular trial court has also said that this particular case falls under this particular rare of the rare cases, right? Rare of the rare cases, right? And this is, and what did the court say? The court said, why did it fall in the rare of the rare cases? It fell in the rare of the rarest cases because acts committed by custodians of law aggravated, like that led to aggravated culpability. Now, this is very important to understand. Acts committed by custodians of law. Who is the custodian of law here? Those 9 policemen. They were supposed to protect law, right? Now, the fact that they killed the father and the son in the custody, right, shows that the power that they have to protect law, the protector of the law himself or themselves have broken, the law. So aggravated culpability means that you have more responsibility because you have more power. The fact that you have breached that power, you are like culpable more, and hence the degree of punishment will be higher. This is very important. Acts committed by custodians of law leads to aggravated culpability. You can use the phrase aggravated culpability in your second paper, in your fourth paper as well. Now, what is the way forward? Look, the thing is this, people would say that, another thing is that with regards to counter view, the counter view is that it is a systemic problem. Like we have seen previously in 2006, there was a case, Tyagi case, right? Here we have another case. So it's a systemic problem. So is the death penalty the answer? Now, probably it is not, but here a clear messaging has to be given. A clear messaging has to be given because had they not been given death penalty, then to a degree, such punishment would have been happening, or the policemen would have gotten a clean chit who are or would be engaging in this particular heinous crime, right? So in this regard, death penalty, probably this particular judgment will be overturned by the higher courts, right? But a clear statement has to be given that if you are the guardian of the law, if you are the protectorate of the law, right, you have an added responsibility towards the law. You cannot just go willy-nilly breaking the law, right? Now, what is the way forward? The way forward here, you have to understand is that last 30 years, there have been categorical judgments, policies that have been there, but no steps have been taken in that regard, right? The first thing is that implement your Prakash Singh versus Union of India directive, and that's by the Supreme Court. I think it was in 1997, right? Very few work has been done, right? So one of the recommendations of Prakash Singh Union of India directive was separation of investigation and law and order, which is in US. You have detectives, you have policemen, right? Detectives, they only work with regards to investigation. They will not focus on your law and order, right? But India, the policeman is both investigative as well as has a power of law and order, right? So again, police reforms, you have to implement your Prakash Singh judgment, right? Prakash Singh judgment. Then judicial accountability, active scrutiny during remand. So remand means what? Remand means that before trial, you are kept in the jail for, like, if the crime is heinous or for protection, whatever. This remand period, who is the overviewing or overarching body to look that particular prisoner is okay or not, right? There is no system to that, right? So an active scrutiny has to be designed to overlook and hold people accountable who, do criminal activities during remand, right? Then custodial safeguards, mandatory CCTV with independent audit. Every police station should have your CCTV, and even inside your holding cells, there should be CCTV. But we know there is lackadaisical infrastructure, and hence this particular, again, one of the safeguards is not implemented, right? And the most important is strict compliance with the DK Basu guideline. Very important, where when a person is being arrested, you have to mention what crime you have been arrested for, right? A policeman has to have clear designation. He should be having his identity with him, that I am a policeman, right? These are a long list of DK Basu guidelines which is there, right? Which will again help you to like prevent this custodial deaths. But again, no active measure has been taken to implement these guidelines, right? And most importantly, strengthen NHRC and State Human Rights Commission. So this is particularly like in pen and paper, they are statutory body, they have paper, but they are paper tigers, right? They are paper tigers because they don't have much authority, they don't have much power to hold the people in power accountable, right? So in this case, I would suggest ki remember this particular term here, Sattankulam, right? You can use Sattankulam as a word in your case study, in your answers, where if they ask question on your brutality in police custody. Okay, thank you guys.